And welcome back. Our first segment for discussion this morning is the Cultural and Community Outreach Project, and of course, it's called Our People, Food and Culture. We have with us in studio this morning the Director of Industry Development at the Belize Tourism Board, none other than my good friend Josue Carballo. Good morning,
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. It has been quite an exciting road right now, and it has actually been an excellent opportunity, to now be able to showcase Belizean cuisine, and more so intertwined with the way our people live, their communities, and putting all this into a 6 destinations show.
Yeah.
So we're here today to invite everyone to tune in. We're airing actually the fifth episode right now, the fifth episode of the 6, which will be the Corozal destination, highlighting a bit the rich mestizo culture, the Mexican Belizean cuisine. And we are at that point right now, which we will be talking about not only Corozal as a destination for food, but also what it has to offer. And our current videos are a two episode series per destination, because we take the first episode to basically highlight and introduce the people, introduce who will be the actors, introduce where we are, and so we can showcase what the destination has to offer. And in the case of Corozal, for example, we're talking about Santa Rita, Fort Barley, the Corozal House of Culture, and it's so close to our border in Mexico. So we're talking about a place that can easily be accessible both from air, from land, and even from boat.
Yeah.
Let's step back a bit, Josue. For persons who are perhaps learning about this for the first time,
Yeah.
Yes.
what is the objective that the BTB is trying to accomplish with this new particular product that it's advertising, or that it's putting out there to promote Belize?
Yes. So, well, as part as what was mentioned of within our cultural and community outreach desk, the idea is absolutely to look at the culture of our people, including the creative economy, the orange economy, but also the heritage that we have, documenting it and showcasing it as what Belize is all about. And what best to do it than when we bring in food into the mix, no? When we bring food into the mix, and we all know that we are so rich in culture and traditions and variety. So this was one way to put that into film.
Go ahead.
This, in a sense, reminds me of watching Travel Channel.
Yes.
When you look at what the late what Andrew Zimmern did and the late Anthony Bourdain, if you look at, for instance, Bizarre Foods or No Reservations, right?
Yes.
And the best way to connect to culture is through food, as you've mentioned, where if someone pulls out a pot and starts putting together a
dish.
rice and beans
Yeah.
dish or relleno or some caldo, and you start to talk about the origins of the food, for instance, you get a certain insight into that cultural experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so when we began this series, we originally said, let's try the first 2 videos and see how it goes.
Yeah.
But then we realized that 2 was just not enough, and even the 6 is not enough
Yeah.
because
I
of
agree.
our variety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but in essence, we try to capture majority of our cultures, including we have the Creole culture and their dishes here in the Belize River Valley. We talked about the East Indian community down in Punta Gorda, that rich in spices and all of the cohoon cabbage, talking about all of these wonderful dishes. We talked about the Maya, and this time we took a different approach as well. We looked out at the Maya in the Cayo area. And we tied that into actually a festival that they usually have, which was the Finados,
Yes.
ending November. So we highlighted that portion of what is done during that period. And we went with the Garifuna as well, down in the Stan Creek region, that richness with their coconut and all of the seafood that they bring in. Right now we're doing the mestizo, which I mentioned, and this time we're mixing it up with the white relleno, which is something very traditional and more so during the Christmas period within that
Yeah.
region. And next, and they want to follow after that, we'll be ending off with obviously the richest in seafood. So we also went to Kikaker, and even though it's not a particular culture, it's a mix of everything, but it showcases the coastal, the fisherman life in these regions.
I wanted to go back to a term that you said, and it's Mexican Belizean cuisine. And it takes me back to when we say things like Tex-Mex, right? And that kind of stuff. I know Sean Quillen is a visionary, but how were you all able, especially in the north, that we have these borders, able to make it more relatable to our Belizean community? Because they are also a mixed mash of that Mexican, Belizean influence. We influence them, they influence us. So how were you able to find the people to talk to about this, I want to say like assimilation of cultures and make it authentic to Belize?
Well, like you mentioned, I think some people use that term bell mix, right? This bell mix mix now in the north. But when you see a series, for example, when the first one begins, it begins like all the others with a storyline, no? With a story. So where did we come from to be here now? Both in the aspects of the destinations themselves, the facilities they offer, the tour sites you can go. But more so particularly here, we contacted some senior persons within the community who gave us that backdrop, you know, of actually how the entire culture originated. Where in this case, in my case, I'm a mestizo, where we come from. And so it kind of blended that, and then from there it took on the Belizean story, right? The Belizean blend to it. And for example, when you talk about the northern cuisine and you compare it to Mexico, Mexico is so big that there are different regions with different actual dishes.
Yeah.
So the Belmex cuisine is mostly based in southern, the Yucatan Peninsula, that region where it has all where the different spices, the rellenos, where we use the different recados to add a different spice to your food. So it is not like a full-on Mexican cuisine, because you know Mexican, then you talk about the tacos. In the north has el cabrito. They have all kind of different types of food, but the Belizean mix is mostly going from the southern Mexico down.
Yeah.
And about the tortillas and all of these things that have been embraced by the community. You know, the people that grow their corn, the people that grow their milpa system, and through that then they get the richness translated into the table, into the dishes. So it is that, no, and every episode, that's why we did it in 2 steps. So the first one sets the tone. It sets the tone, it gives you the background of the culture, where it originated, you know, how it has been growing, and so much so you see where that is translated into the love in the kitchen, huh? The way they do their food and how delicious it ends up becoming at the end.
We're talking about all of these different destinations, and I was always particularly curious about the south and the north, because I always feel like we leave them behind. How were you able to capture tourist destinations as well in these segments? And we're doing a socioeconomic series as well within this. So what does Corozal have to offer?
Well, like in the aspect of Corozal, we see that there's a lot of growth there, in particularly the areas within Santa Rita. In the town itself, the town proper has, well, the Corozal House of Culture just reopened back again. The Fort Barley, actually. Santa Rita itself, I don't know if you know, but the Santa Rita region, now we just came from a little site visit around the Sartineja region. By boat, we went through to Cerros. You actually see Cerros on one side, Santa Rita on the other side. And it's amazing to have that within the Mayan world, no? Two towns that actually interconnected. It was under one cacique, and story tells that was actually interconnected to the Chetumal region.
Yeah.
So even though Chetumal claims to be the birth of the mestizaje, or the birth of the mestizo culture, records show that actually the formal wedding, the first wedding that was officially recorded between, it was said to be the cacique's daughter, the princess of the region, and a Spanish conquistador, happened in Santa Rita. So beyond saying, evidence shows that the actual, the formality of creating the culture started in Corozal. And like when we speak to people there, inclusive the mayor Rigo, he mentioned, he said, man, Corozal should be known as actually the bridge of worlds. And I said, why the bridge? In two aspects. No, one, we talked about the culture, and secondly, it actually unites. It's the first official border entry point geographically between North America and the rest of the Americas. So it's uniquely positioned, uniquely located. Obviously, it has that bay, that beautiful bay, very windy, but very, very calm. It doesn't have a beach that actually even has sargassum. It's a clean beach because of where it's located. It's nice for sailing. That entire region there is nice for sailing. There are a lot of flats to do fly fishing as well. So, and with the eventual also the growth of the road going into Sarteneja, Warebite, all of these areas, it is poised for growth. It is poised for growth.
Corozal perhaps still seen as an emerging tourism destination, or has it established a certain brand for that locale?
Well, it's still, you could maybe call it within the aspect of emerging, like how Kikaka was some years ago. Kikaka is now transitioning from emerging to a more settled destination. But it definitely has a lot of room for improvement. And I think after that road is built, you might take maybe half an hour at most to go from Corozal actually into the beaches more down. So you see an amazing growth there. You see more restaurants happening. Actually, we just had a competition a couple of weeks ago for the music and food fest. We had this nice place called, I believe it's El Comal, which has a nice tacos mix to it. So I mean, and I was there for Easter. I wouldn't have spent Easter anywhere else but in Belize. and I was amazed that there was so much to do within the region.
Yes, I mean, honestly though, I think one of the coolest flexes ever is to say that my neighbor is Santa Rita. It's legit in the smack middle of town, and that's I always found that to be fascinating. But each series does come with something else, and when I mean that, I mean it is an opportunity for our viewers at home to win something.
Well, we do believe that we have to, as much as we can, have people immersed into the experience, and in line with that, and together with our Belizean traveler campaign that we have at the BTV, we are actually promoting a token, a trip, a visit, a competition. In this case, every time we promote, we're gonna, since we're promoting the destination, it will commence tomorrow and end the following Wednesday. As you ever want to tune in to the Facebook page to join, and by sharing and doing likes and so on, you participate for a one-night stay for 2 Belizeans. In this case, it's gonna be courtesy and thanks to our partners, Tony's Inn. They're gonna be staying at Tony's Inn, and they will have dinner for 2 at the lovely romantic Cielo restaurant there in Corozal. And actually, the cook at Cielo was the one that helped us to prepare the white relleno. And so they open their doors for us. They say, okay, we want to showcase this. We want to showcase our business, but showcase Corozal in its entirety as well.
What I love about this initiative, Josue, is the fact that it allows for Belizeans to be able to experience these locations.
Yes.
And the fact that it's open to everybody, perhaps it's someone from Punta Gorda who's never had the luxury of spending a night in Corozal at Tony's Inn or any other hotel for that matter, and enjoying the food that is native to that part of the country. It gives them that opportunity to get in it, to win it.
Yes, absolutely. That is the key. That is the key. And one thing we want to highlight here on behalf of the board is that all of us are ambassadors for tourism. All of us are tourists when we travel locally, but we are also important ambassadors for international tourists. And we know that whenever you go anywhere, what do you like? You like to hear a story. You want to know what's happening, a story. And by you watching these videos, you will be able to know more. It's an encyclopedia put together, no? And then so you'll be able to more proudly be able to showcase Belize and to talk about Belize, not only your culture or your region, but the entire country.
Last time we had Chef Sean here, as well as cultural specialist Ms. Vanessa, and I asked them what is one thing that they learned by doing this particular series. So I bet that question to you as well, Josue. What is one thing that you've learned by making this series?
Well, absolutely. What I learned is that there is still the time. There is still time. There is still the will, the energy to preserve our culture. You know, sometimes we believe that you know, man, when you hear stories, say that time my granny, you know,
Yeah.
that was my parents' days. I mean, when you talk about culture, we should not lose it. We should embrace it more than anything else. And I think the one thing I learned is that it makes me more to love my country more. In essence, that is what I learned here, to love my country more, because you realize the richness we have.
The uniqueness of what we
Yeah.
have as well.
Absolutely.
You did a 6-part series of, and you didn't even cover all the districts, right? And there's still a lot more
Yes.
that needs to be documented and filmed. How did the people receive BTB coming into their communities and documenting?
Well, like what I've been told when the staff was on the ground, and it took a lot. It took almost a year of work, of on the ground work, of visits, of filming, and we had to even get you know, it was a full team effort, no, from BTB, because we had different staff helping out in different areas, and the feedback I received from the staff is that people really embrace them. We're excited to talk, excited to share their stories, and now we're making their stories immortal. Now, once we be able to document this and put it on film, because people like audiovisual, no? People like audiovisual, and so people felt that they felt excited about it, and our Belizeans are that, no? Very welcoming, very friendly people. So we received a warm welcome, and we'd like to thank all the participants from every destination that joined us. Or you know, our host as well, Sean Quillen, he always sees the aspect of the preservation of culture and using it as the platform to showcase Belize night and day, or producers as well who worked hard on this, and the entire team, no, Irin, Vanessa, and the rest of the industry development team and the marketing team, but more so again highlighting and thanking the people that open their doors to us.
So you said tonight is episode 5.
Episode
and
5.
then next week is episode 6, which is the last episode.
Yes, right now episode 5 will air today at 7:30 on channel 5. You can also watch it on YouTube and our other mediums, but it's basically Wednesday and Thursday, the airing times. So one episode begins today at we have 7 p.m. the national channel on BHA, 7:30 p.m. channel 5. On Thursdays we have the BTB Facebook and YouTube pages, which you can tune in, and then Fridays on Love TV at 7:30 p.m.
It's almost impossible to miss
it.
any of its
Indeed.
airings.
Yes.
Is there anything else in the works like this that we can look forward to?
Well, in the aspect of we have begun through the cultural desk also to incorporate the aspects of music, which is very important, another very important aspect. And we are in discussions with ICA to look at the general creative arts sector. A museum is currently being built in the Hope Center, that's right crossing over
The
Belcan Bridge, and that has a museum that will be showcasing woodwork. So, but all of this comes together as part of BTB's initiative to stimulate, to create a catalyst for the orange economy.
Yeah.
We're also finalizing the details of our Orange Economy Trust Fund, which will have representatives from different people within the creative sector, from the film festival, talking about music, we're talking about ICA, BTB, and then so we're building an Orange Economy Trust Fund to support the creative sector. It's very broad, it's very big, but we want to do our part because
I think, Josue, it's needed
Yeah.
simply because for far too long, I believe that artisans feel as if though they've been on their own.
Yep.
There isn't that support system or that network that is able to buoy them, in a manner of speaking, and support the kind of work that they're doing.
Yep.
When we look at, or when we discuss economies, for instance, a lot is said about the blue economy, a lot is said about that economy and the other. And the everyman who is into handicraft and is into, that kind of work, where it's
Exactly.
still exposing Belize, but in a different medium, is often overlooked.
Yeah.
So an initiative like this, if you ask me, is timely because people are looking at Belize as a destination. People are visiting Belize and they want to be able to not only come to Belize and see what we have to offer, but take along something with them. And that is where these individuals come in with their handicrafts
Yes.
and their other items.
And beyond the ability to help them out directly, because that is a costly endeavor, the first steps we have to take is basically put everything together in a database.
Yeah.
What happens in most of the times we do efforts so independently. We don't have like one big effort put together. We are just finalizing, for example, right now our site inventory list at the BTV, in which we'll then be showcasing it in an app platform to produce adventure tourism component for Belize, where you can then trace your hiking, you can trace your kayaking,
Yeah.
you can actually create your map and your route with this app, which we're just right now in process of hiring to get done. Know that we have the information from our tour sites, and we'll actually be opening a call for other sites that want to call into the BTB and register themselves. But then the same thing we have to go now with the creative sector, create our
Absolutely.
database.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know Ika and Nitch have already been working on one, but it's to create the database and then find which platform we're going to use to bring it out to the world, bring it out to Belize.
I think
that
it has
is
to
our big
be
initiative.
synchronous because all of these creatives and artists do overlap in the cultural sector. They overlap with the archaeological reserves because you have
Yes.
them situated there, and so I think.
Well, essentially,
Good luck. You haven't it all, but
I think, April, essentially what the aim would be is to create an ecosystem where, for instance, BTB ties in with Niche and ICA and all of these other
We're all
agencies
connected
to
in
promote one particular
Yeah.
Absolutely.
goal.
Absolutely. Final question for me. I know it's not about this in particular, but you do have your Boom Forum that is taking place. Can you provide a little bit more input on that? I know it's happening this Friday, and essentially just for a small bit of information on what it's about and who can apply.
Well, anyone can actually apply for the Boom Forum. There's an event registration page you can get from our website, and Boom Forum is actually the theme is a dip into the future, right? So we're trying to find how together we can elevate the product. Boom, you're booming, you're going forward. So it's going to be April 21st, 2023, which is right here, from 8:30 to 4:30. Lunch will be provided. It's going to be here at the Belize Best Western. We're going to have a recap of marketing 2022. We're going to be talking about sustainability and how partners can use ecotourism to their advantage. We'll be talking about marketing plans for 2023 and much more. It's going to be a very, very interactive session. We're going to have our big agency, Zimmerman Agency from the US, Development Counselors International from Canada, Fin Partners from Europe. So we're going to be actually getting a perspective from different regions as how they see Belize. They would want to know how we see us as Belize and where that will integrate together to form our 2023 plan as we go forward. So there is a link in our Facebook page in which you can go in and register and be a part of it, no? be a part of the event.
I just wanted to make mention of it because I do think it's a good initiative. You don't have to be in the business to learn about how it's booming because it does affect you in any field that you're in. But Mr. Carballo, as we're wrapping things up, I want to say thank you so much for coming in. People, Food, and Culture will air tonight right here on Channel 5 after our newscast at 7:30 p.m. We want to catch this episode 5, highlighting Corozal this week. Thank you so much, Mr. Carballo.
Okay, you're welcome.
And with that, we are going to take the break and we move from people, food, and culture into a different culture. And it's all about girls in ICT and the digital spotlights. We'll be right back with that segment.